So Raynaud's is when your blood vessels in your extremities are oversensitive to the cold, so they constrict and prevent the blood from flowing through to the extremities. So you'll probably know it as when the fingers and toes, for example, they go different colours. So they could go white because the blood flow's completely stopped, or they could go blue because there's been blood trapped in them and it's become deoxygenated. And then when the blood returns, when your hands have heated up again, they go bright red where all the blood's rushing back in. It's predominantly in the fingers and toes, but you can get it in other extremities like your nose and your ears, and my mum had it in her face. So yeah, it's probably, most people notice it for their fingers because I guess that's the most obvious one. Anything cold can trigger it, so probably as most people in the office know, I'm very sensitive to the cold generally, so it's not just about having cold fingers and toes. I feel the cold generally anyway, but it's anything cold, or I think a change in temperature can trigger it, so holding a cold drink, coming in from the cold into a warm building, if you're standing on a cold floor and you haven't got shoes on, or if you've not got thick enough socks. The worst thing probably for me is the cold steering wheel in the morning, so I always have to wear gloves until it's probably the height of the summer, and then once they're cold and once they're numb, you then can't really use your fingers and your feet. So when your feet are numb, it's actually quite hard to walk. When your hands are numb, it's then you can't hold a pen, you can't really use your phone properly, you couldn't do a button up, that kind of thing. They're completely stiff. It's quite uncomfortable if it's mild, but actually it's very painful as well, especially when the blood comes rushing back and they go bright red, that they kind of burn. So it's not particularly nice generally. So I think the emphasis is on trying to prevent it from happening in the first place. It's not very nice. So I take something called nifedipine, which relaxes the blood vessels. I've been on that for probably about 12 or 13 years, and I have to say it completely changed my life. So I used to play a lot of sport outside in the cold. It used to stop me from being able to do that very well. I remember kind of doing my exams at school and struggling to hold the pen, for example. So starting medication for me has absolutely changed my life. It kind of makes it a little bit milder, so it kind of holds it off for slightly longer and makes it less extreme when the attacks do happen. It doesn't prevent it altogether, but it's definitely made it a lot more manageable. But in addition to medication, which I know some people aren't suitable for or can't for whatever reason take, but the biggest thing is preventing the attacks in the first place, so wearing gloves, thermal socks, thermals generally, hot water bottles, hot drinks, just trying to keep kind of a consistent temperature around you and that kind of thing. The whole point is to try and prevent it in the first place, because it's just once it happens, you can't really control how quick it comes back. It is very common, so if someone is struggling with it, that they go and that they have a look if they've got the symptoms of Raynaud's, and then if it's extreme and it's causing them extreme pain and is affecting their daily life, then it is worth seeing your GP to see if there is something that can be done. I guess I think I wish people understood how the cold affects us. We're not just being big wimps, especially when it comes to the windows in the office.